Okay, we are live. It's been a while. I want to give everyone an update on the water situation in Airway Heights. So, first of all, the latest update, the media informed us that the water was again safe to drink. Of course, I remain skeptical of this, and a lot of the local people do as well. And I was actually kind of overjoyed to see that the people are remaining skeptical, because I honestly feel they should be. The tests for the water are being run by some type of local corporation, I'm sure, and I'm almost positive that they are also under the thumb of the government. So until we have a complete and transparent civilian investigation, I'm not going to believe anything that the media tells us, because they've already proven themselves untrustworthy. Now, given my independent journalism and my continued research into this matter, I've discovered a few interesting facts. The first of which is probably the most compelling. There are at least a dozen or more Air Force bases nationwide who are also reporting that the water locally and in the communities around these Air Force bases has been contaminated with these same types of chemicals. So you have a smoking gun right there, unless you're an idiot or you're, working with the government or with the military, and you continue to deny all of this and demand all of this evidence, which, see, this is where things get complex. I'm discovering now that in seeking legal counsel, first you're put into 4 different classes of people, and each one of these classes has a higher priority in the courtroom. The first class is the well owners. So apparently they come first. And I can understand that, okay. Second are the businesses, the local businesses that are affected by this. They will be next. So yeah, that's America for you. The third class is the people that have been affected. These are people who have been sickened by these chemicals. And now, see, this is where it gets really interesting, is that everyone who's been afflicted must have overwhelming evidence that they've been afflicted. And this has to come from where? Your doctor. And that's just another branch of this tree. So while not all doctors, I'm sure, will be looking to dodge this type of diagnosis, I guarantee you some of them will be. To get your blood tested for these chemicals, it costs $550 for a single blood test. So that pretty much begins to reveal the money grab that's going on here. It will not be until people have been sickened and their time and energy has been drained, probably over many years in the courtroom, that they may find any type of compensation. And that's the saddest part about all this, isn't it? And there's another money grab right there in the courtroom. Some of the lawyers that I have been consulting with about building a case for this are looking for about 40% of the judgment. Isn't that absolutely ludicrous? 40%. So, while discouraging, I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue. The people I've been corresponding with locally, who began this group, People for the Omission of the Contamination of Fairchild Air Force Base, I'm trying to get them organized and create a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo, some type of fundraiser that we can raise money for, and then we can elect together, who we want to represent us with this money. Not only legally, but also which parties that have been affected. Now, of course, I would nominate myself. I have a wealth of evidence. I have a background in independent journalism. I've been recording my videos and reporting on, things of this nature, conspiracy-related material, for a length of time now, since 2011. My company, Zero Point Technologies, LLC, we are an environmentally friendly company, and naturally we oppose any types of this pollution, let alone decades of cover-up. One of my friends locally was actually stopped on the way back to his house with his carts full of water during the crisis. And they did an interview with him, and he made the front page of the local newspaper. I have images of that. And the front page of the newspaper read, "Decades of contamination behind Airway Heights water crisis." And he is aware of what's happening as well. And I'm glad that they, stopped him, and we at least got some word out about it. So, also, given my research, I've discovered a few more correlations. Some of the people who are reporting symptoms or family that have become afflicted, they report that there are lots of gastrointestinal issues, which is exactly what my mother had for many years, until she stopped drinking the tap water, which was just recently, and since then she's told me that she has felt better. And secondly, they said that it attacks the pancreas, the kidneys, and the thyroid. That's what these chemicals can affect. Now, my grandmother was afflicted for much of her later life. She had to have polyps removed from her colon on several occasions. This is documented in her medical records. And the diagnosis that we were given when she suddenly died was that she had about 10 to 15% of a functioning pancreas at that time. So again, there we have more evidence that this has been going on for decades, and it has been covered up by the military. And the only reason that they're omitting it now is because they had to. And also because they have discovered that they can make profit from this as well. And that's one of the most disgusting aspects about all of this. And the entire pharmaceutical industry itself is, further evidence that death and sickness is profitable in the United States and abroad. And it's not until the afflicted speak up and demand answers that anyone will answer for it. And that's what I'm telling local people in our group now. Do not become discouraged. We're in for a long fight here. They're going to try and question our integrity. They're going to bring up anything they can on us, given our, background, a criminal history, if you have any. Fortunately, I do not have any criminal history, so my integrity remains intact. They're just going to try and bring out anything and everything that they possibly can to discredit anybody who's afflicted and affected, and especially those who are seeking just more than a check in the courtroom. I'm talking about people like myself who are seeking answers, for not only what's happening in Fairchild, for what's happening at these dozen or more Air Force bases nationwide. And as long as I am living and breathing, the military will answer for its crimes against the civilian people, period. And I have a wealth of evidence to confirm this. It's simply presenting this evidence with any level of integrity that many people find difficult. As I said, it's going to be a long legal battle, and it will be. I guarantee everyone it will be, and I'm ready for it. Like I said, I have stacks of evidence to support this. It's no coincidence that the Pacific Northwest has the highest rate for MS and leukemia nationwide. We have the ongoing nuclear disaster at Hanford that's just being swept under the rug, and nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. Continue about your daily lives. And honestly, I feel if we ever did have some type of transparent, honest civilian investigation, and we had the resources and the time and the people and the knowledge to gather evidence and collect samples of, soil, groundwater, things like that, that our samples would test much higher than what the media has been giving us and what their hired corporate entities which are testing these chemicals are giving us. Let's see, what else did I want to cover today that is somewhat related to this? So, first of all, naturally, this is filed under the conspiracy nature, and everybody is blacklisting that word now, especially since there was this fallout over the Megyn Kelly interview of Alex Jones. So So what happened there is Alex Jones' lawyer apparently stated in a court of law that the character he portrays for his radio show and for his news network is merely an actor. Now, of course, that's part of this whole charade itself. But naturally, that harms his integrity among the masses at the very least. I mean, I'm sure if you know Alex yourself, he might have some level of integrity with you. However, among the masses, if they hear that, they're going to blacklist him as well. I guess all these corporations now are calling for a boycott of NBC News. Isn't that interesting that obviously they touched upon something that got somebody upset and got somebody startled. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any response at all. There's only response to something when it is threatening or when it is provoking. And that's the same thing like I'm trying to tell people with this water crisis. We have to act on this. We can't just let this go by and say this is okay. This is not okay. I've had family affected by it. I don't even know if I've been affected by it. I still refuse to drink the tap water. I'm drinking bottled water. And I always check to make sure the source of the bottled water. And another important resource for people who are just, realizing this water situation, you should also check your water to see how acidic it is. Not only your tap water, but your bottled water. There is a few videos you can look up online on how to do this. Simply Google testing alkaline versus acidic water. You'll find resources on how to do this. Because not all bottled water is truly what it's advertised to be. Some of it is just as bad as the tap water. That's ultimately what I'm trying to tell everyone, is that unless you are informed and intelligent, and unless you are thirsty for knowledge and study these things that are happening all around you, you'll be eaten alive out here. You'll be taken advantage of. You'll be downtrodden on. Absolutely you will be. It's quite sad. I'm not used to live broadcasting on YouTube. Usually I record videos, so I'll take a look at the chat here. Nice to see that you're here. I'm glad you're listening. And I thank you for your kind words about making videos like this, because ultimately, nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to try and reach out to as many people as they possibly can, given their own resources. And since I'm established here on YouTube, why not, So I'm trying to stay on topic about the water. Again, I just want to review for anybody coming in now. Airway Heights Water, the media is telling us now that the water is safe to drink. A lot of the people remain skeptical. My legal options have been discouraging at best. We have lawyers seeking 40%. We have subdivisions of people eligible for lawsuits based upon, their business, their affiliation. If you're just a common civilian and you're afflicted, then you're put into class 3 apparently, which will be, not as high on the food chain, which is, part of our legal system, right? And again, some of the evidence I have compiled, at least a dozen Air Force bases nationwide have this same issue. I'm not sure about the local communities there. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm hoping one of them might see this video and hopefully reach out. But if you are among these communities, please reach out. We have to get organized. It's not just going to be a local thing. When this omission comes out, this is going to be something that happens nationwide. Which brings up another aspect that I wanted to, address openly here while I'm broadcasting live, just to have it on the record, is that I have not yet dismissed the possibility that this group that I was added to on Facebook is part of the ongoing surveillance and psychological operation that is Facebook. I have spoken with a few people locally who explained to me their situation. One of the ladies lives right next to the Air Force Base, and she has horses. And she was asking me if the water would be safe for the horses. I said, absolutely not. I mean, if it's not safe for human consumption, surely it's not safe for horses. So I can only wonder if her horses have been having, malnutrition issues or something of that nature since she's been living there. But the administrator of this group, who I profiled, naturally I profile everybody that adds me on Facebook or that comes onto my radar on Facebook because I think it's intelligent to do so. You should always be observing and profiling those who are observing you. But I was looking into some of her connections, and I discovered several connections to Spokane police and Seattle police, detectives. Now, this would make sense given the nature of this group and the situation, but you cannot dismiss the fact either that they could be conducting surveillance on you to seeing if you are, an activist, if you are a threat to, this conspiracy, which there is really no other word to use. That is what is happening, and it's becoming more blatantly obvious. And they're trying to normalize this now. So, it's just swept under the radar like everything else. I saw an article recently about NASA spraying more of this geoengineering chemicals on the East Coast. Bright luminescence cloud to light up the East Coast this evening. They're telling the people what they're doing, but they're not informing the people of the entire scope of what they're doing. They're not even coming close to telling them the entire scope of it. Let's see. People that shower in the water, I noticed when it rains, the plants grow wild, but when I water them with the hose, they dry up or don't grow much. Now, it's interesting you bring that up, I see. My local friend who was given the front page and the interview from the Spokesman Review, he was watering his crops with this water last year. And he said, the crops were not as good this year. He was saying there was something in the water. He's been saying that for a long time, and so have I. And now that they've confirmed it, I told him, I said, you should save some of the soil samples from your garden and some of those crops that you had or might be coming back this year. And he's going to save them. Because this could be further evidence in a court of law. And this is what you have to do. You have to go out of your way and think in every different way you can about how you can build a case and have it foolproof. Because if you don't, nobody's going to believe you. Even myself, when I heard of the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, naturally, I was concerned about it. But it wasn't until it hit locally that I found myself trying to organize more, trying to speak out more, trying to, take action on this. And, I guess, hindsight is 20/20, right? It's, in retrospect, this is something I probably should have been doing. But you live and you learn, right? This was a lesson I needed to learn. And I definitely need to be more vigilant. I need to be more compassionate about other communities that are going through the same thing. And I can only hope that they might, hear me now and reach out, and reach back, and inform people what's going on, and not to trust everything that is presented to you. You must do your own research. You must compare multiple sources of information. You must look into the affiliations of the sources of that information. And this is something that nobody wants to do. Nobody has the time to do. It's just easier for everybody to just, believe what they're told. Parable of the world, right? So in the future, I hope to have more updates on what's going on here. Again, the evidence continues to build, and it's overwhelmingly obvious to me that this evidence is clear. A bit off topic, but just for an update on my company situation. We're continuing progress with the prototype. It's been slow going, as I said. It's you discover that another component is needed, and then when you assemble that component, you discover that yet another component is needed. And then you discover that there are other things that would make it run better, make it run more efficient. Then there's another droplet of information that comes up. And, you must apply that to make sure that you're doing everything correctly and that it's safe. But in the future, I'm still on course to present Zero Point Technologies' initial over Unity prototype. And we, as I said, we're a big educational company. We try to teach as much as we can. You can check us out on Facebook at 0 Point Techs, TECHS. Join our educational group. This is related to the company, absolutely, because we are anti-pollution. We are against all forms of fossil fuels and pollutants to the atmosphere in any form, be it for cleaning, be it for energy, be it for sustainability, because it's not sustainable. It is only short-term sustainability. And this is something that apparently the military has taken a shortcut on and has been for the past several decades. And it's only now that people are sick and dying that they have to, admit to it. They've been holding workshops locally at schools and communities. Naturally, they would reach out to the schools and touch the young people's minds and convince them that, we're the good guys and we're giving you water and we're going to keep you safe. That's what the military does, The best offense is a good defense. The military is always claiming that they are defending the civilian people, serving and protecting civilian people, which is a blatant lie. It's they continue to rape and defile the civilian people without their knowledge and brainwash them. It's really quite sad how deep it all goes. But when things like this come out, this is when it gets dirty. This is when it comes out. And now I find myself right in the front of it. Possibly afflicted myself with some type of short-term, illnesses. I don't know. I don't know what could have been causing it. But I still refuse to bathe in the water too. I'm not at that location currently. I'm at my other location. So I am able to at least shower here. But over there I choose to, go back to the old ways. Just give me a wash rag, some soap, and a little trough of water. That's all I need. Because I don't know if this water is truly safe or not, and I will not be convinced that it is until we have an organized civilian investigation and effort. And that's what I'm calling out for now. If you live around Spokane, Area Heights, you're concerned about the water situation, you're concerned about getting some answers for why you or someone close to you may have been afflicted by this, let's get organized. Let's make this happen. Because there's no other way it's going to happen. And I already see discouragement among the many. I already see people going about their lives as if nothing ever happened. Oh, the water's safe, the water's fine. I'm not convinced, everybody, and I won't be, like I said, until I have that evidence. And so far, as an individual, the evidence I have gathered is overwhelming. So before I go here, I just want to cover that one more time. The situation is Area Heights water. The media is telling us the water is safe again and free of the contaminants that are directly related to the Air Force and their use of these chemicals, or rather their misuse of them. At least a dozen more Air Force bases nationwide reporting the same issue. People affected, it targets organs like the thyroid, the pancreas. It can lead to polyps in the colon. If you or anyone you know lived in this area, the Pacific Northwest, you have family that might have been afflicted or have these symptoms, at least do your own research. Look into this. Look into the chemical. Look into the symptoms. And I guarantee you'll find a link. It's blatantly obvious to me. So I guess that's about it for now, everyone. I think I've covered everything I needed to cover today. Said everything I needed to say. I hope to have more updates for you soon, given the situation. I will continue conducting my own independent journalism, my own research of what's going on here, and I will continue trying to organize people and get them to speak out and do their own research about what's really going on here. And just remember that this could be coming soon to a community near you. It might be happening already and you're not yet aware. So be smart and educate yourselves, or we will be taken advantage of. The sad truth of this world, everyone. So until then, be well, and I hope to be with you all again soon. And please use the hashtag Area Heights Water, because every time you use that, it's going to lead right back to all the evidence that I've compiled. So thank you, everybody, and until next time, be well.